Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big HuffPost Show welcome to General Maximus himself, Mr. Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe in the house.
Russell Crowe.
Yes. Come on, sir. Welcome. Mr. Mark from Hill.
Thank you. Pleasure. Have a seat. Have a seat.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
You know, when I first heard about the film, I know it's a period piece, but then I thought, water diviner, Los Angeles, drought, it's topical as hell. Have you thought about that?
No, it's the
Just
first
now,
time.
right? See, I got one that he hadn't heard yet. So let me ask you this. I know that you've been offered directing slots before, after Gladiator, but you waited all this time. So was it just that the timing was right, or was it this project?
I think I was waiting for the same kind of feeling that I have as an actor when I connect to a script, And because, the intellectual idea is one thing, but the actual energy to do both jobs in a particular project, it's gonna require you to be on your game for quite some time. So you've really got to be drawing from a passionate place to do it. So, in between times, I've directed 30 or so video clips, some documentaries and stuff. So I've been, blooding myself in the game, so to speak. But this came out of nowhere. It was just a script that arrived randomly, and I read it, and I just knew it had to be this one.
What was it about the script that connected to you as opposed to the others?
Well, I think that, it's a very complicated answer because there's a lot of things, The Battle of Gallipoli, which this movie is based on, is a very big cultural touchstone in Australia and New Zealand. Our Memorial Day, the 25th of April, Anzac Day, which stands for Australian New Zealand Army Corps, is based on the beginning of that battle. It's the first time that Australians and New Zealanders fought under their own flag. Prior to that, they're an extension of the British Empire and the Crimea and the Boer War and what have you. So it has a big cultural importance. Being a father of two, reading the story of a father of three sons who went to war and they didn't come back, that was a huge connection point for me there as well. There was also in the script an opportunity to reframe how people in Australia and New Zealand see Gallipoli and understand that particular part of the First World War and our relationship with the Turks. So that opportunity was huge, to reshape the way people feel about this particular instance in history, and also many other elements in the script. So it was it wasn't just one thing. Yeah. It was like such an overwhelming response to it. And when I go and meet directors, man, you don't want to meet the wishy-washy person, because I may do this, I may do that. Yeah. I kind of feel about this, you want the definitive voice. You want to, you meet a Ridley Scott, and he's absolutely pure and certain. He's the only man on the planet who can be doing that particular movie, Yeah. And you kind of get a certain confidence from that, and you get that from Peter Weir or Ron Howard or Darren Aronofsky, So I had a strange experience when I was reading the script. I had this voice come out of me that I had to take responsibility for this. Wow. This was, I could read between the lines, I could see into the shadows, all of that sort of stuff. So that's probably the voice that I've been waiting for, And this is the 100-year anniversary. Yeah. So, but when I read it, it was a number of years ago. Yeah. So, but it's dovetailed very nicely. So we read that you had brought the cast and the crew together, and you sort of put them through a boot camp with workouts and weapons training and history lessons. Well, you just had a beer? Basically, it wasn't the cast and crew. No? It was just the cast.
Just the cast. Yeah. You let the crew off. Yeah. You're that camera guy's no boot camp for you.
Yeah, I didn't bring the grips in to learn about weapon training. Though that probably could have been a good idea. No, it was just the cast, and essentially what I did is I just showed them how I would approach it if I was preparing for it. And what that does, man, is, you fill people's days like that, and you have them go for a long walk when they first get up, do some yoga, do a weight session. They might do a 50-kilometre bike ride. They might do 2.5 or 3 hours on horses, some weaponry training. Then at night time, it might be a lecture on the geopolitics of the time, the history of the Ottoman Empire. You're just filling them up with stuff. And then once you've done that, all they need to do then is be consistent coming into when you actually start shooting. And what it gives you is that every single actor on your set is fully prepared, and there's also something that the camera reads. There's a mile of depth behind their eyes. They know their subject matter, they know who they're playing, they are of that time. You've got to remember, I'm casting young actors in Sydney, so I'm getting all these completely urbanized, like, surfer dude guys, and then taking them back 100 years in time, and their body shapes changed, and just, but it's mainly that thing that's behind their eyes.
Wow.
Do surfers in Australia say dude, or is that just a California thing?
I think surfers all over the world say dude, but I wouldn't want to become a spokesperson for surfers and what they say or don't say.
Okay.
We won't pin you on that.
Fair enough.
I did have a question for you because you talk about Australia a lot, obviously, and you are New Zealander.
I was born in New Zealand, but I went to Australia first as a 4-year-old in 1968.
Yeah.
Then I lived there until I was 14, and then I went back to New Zealand with my parents, and then went back to Australia at the age of 21 by myself. So I've lived 39 of my 51 years in Australia.
But what about the citizenship piece of that? Because I've heard that you've attempted to obtain citizenship in Australia, and it's been difficult.
They changed the laws in 2002. Prior to that, see, it's a funny thing because the freedom of travel has always been very open between Australia and New Zealand. But over time, more and more rules have come in. And even though I was living in Australia, it was one of those things, I'll get around to it, I'll get around to it. It wasn't until I had my second son, married an Australian wife, now I've got 2 Australian children. You know what, I should really be an Australian because it's sort of kind of like just that worst case scenario thing. If we're traveling somewhere, something goes down, we got to go to 2 embassies, not 1, And I also wanted them to sort of enjoy that part of it too, that, I sort of became an Australian for them kind of thing,
Why haven't they made it easier, though? I mean, you're like the man in Australia.
You're on a stamp, right?
But yeah, here's the thing. It's a funny thing because I am on the list of living national treasures for Australia.
Wow.
I am, as you pointed out, a legal tender stamp in Australia, which apparently is illegal unless you're the Queen of England.
Right, it's you and the Queen.
But I'm on the stamp. And you can post a letter with me. Just got to lick the back of my head. We'll get
fill in your punchline there, yeah. The line forms right over under the.
Yeah, and like they gave me the Federation Medal in 2000 and stuff like that for services to the arts and everything. So it is a very odd situation. And when I've approached it, because I haven't actually, I haven't officially given them paperwork because, you can have many conversations about it first and find out where it's at, because you don't want to be on the list of people who have applied and been formally denied, because then that's just going to create extra hassle, and they changed these laws and I wasn't in the country for the majority of the time. I think you have to be there for at least 10 months in 2000, 2001, 2002. Now, that was an extremely busy period for me. That was, not only was I shooting movies, I was also doing Academy campaigns for Insider, for Gladiator, for Beautiful Mind, and so I just wasn't in the country. Wow. And so I don't fit easily into it. But the reason that I talk about it is not because I couldn't do, a nudge, nudge, wink, wink deal.
Yeah.
I would think that's what you do. But just walking with your book of stamps with your face on it and just...
But I'm just
Maximus.
I'm just not that guy.
Yeah.
Because it's unfair. It's an unfair situation that burdens what they estimate at the moment is like 250,000 New Zealanders who have made a life in Australia, have children, have jobs, are taxpayers, own real estate, are contributors to society, but they're completely cut off. They have no access to medical services, their kids don't have access to tertiary education, and that's why I bring it up, because sooner or later somebody will come along and say, this is actually completely unfair and we need to change it. But if I do the nudge, nudge, wink, wink, then I'm bailing on 250,000 other people.
Very fair, very fair. One of the cool things researching and going into your life is you are a very avid tweeter. And you don't just do it to promote stuff. You let out some personal stuff. I know that there was a thing with Gawker saying that you had been a member of the Church of Scientology, and you're like, what the fuck? When did that happen?
Yeah.
What is that about?
But that's what I like about Twitter, because somebody can put something out and then you can just immediately go, bullshit. And, your X amount of followers go, well, that was bullshit, and they tweet that to their friends. No, that one was bullshit,
right.
So you kind of get it sort of...
Cut it right off?
Yeah, just cut it off at the head.
Have you seen Going Clear, the movie?
No, I haven't.
It is, it's something, yeah.
It's something.
The thing that refers to is actually, I brought that up in an interview in Interview magazine with Paul Giamatti, because he was talking about faith and because very progressively my mother decided not to baptize me in 1964, with the concept that I will find my own way, that she didn't want to force a religion upon me, which I thought was kind of cool, and I still think it's cool. But that led me as a young kid to like having a look around at everything, you know. Yeah. So, you know, I had friends that went to a Catholic church service, so it'd be like, "Can I come home over to your place so we can go to church," or Presbyterian or whatever. And that led me to a little bit of reading and stuff. And as a friend of Nicole Kidman, I got to know Tom Cruise quite well. Yeah. And I was in the video store, and there was like a, you know, $2.50 on sale special video on Scientology. So I watched it, you know. And, you know, it was kind of like out of a friendship thing, really, you know. And then I brought it up with him, and we had a short conversation about it. But it was a moment that I kind of really established in my mind that I thought he was a very cool guy. Because I brought it up with him. You know, I broached the subject. We talked about it for a natural length of conversation. And then his finisher on the conversation was, "If it's important to you, man, you'll do something about it." And we never talked about it again. So he never tried to sell me a pair of shoes or the Volvo or
never
whatever.
Made you take a stress test or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's like
didn't grab the e-meter.
You know, because some people sort of say that he's that sort of fella, and he just wasn't. You know,
doesn't come across that well in the movie. But you know him better than we do. But you'll see the movie.
I haven't seen him for quite a while. Once they got divorced, I think I got thrown out with.
With Nicole?
It's part of the Australian.
You got lost in the divorce, yeah. Who gets Russell? Yeah.
You can have him, Nick.
Yeah.
Another thing you've been tweeting about is this Michael Jackson thing, which I found bizarre. Not just that Michael Jackson would sort of send you these bizarre prank phone calls, but that it just became a story now. And you sort of tweeted the same thing here. After 10 years of you telling the story, suddenly the world.
Yeah, I've told this story on Jay Leno, on Fallon, you know.
Why is it suddenly hot?
I don't know, but everyone that actually knows Michael knows he used to like to do this. It was just one of his things. But the other thing is, too, is...
Why you, though? I didn't understand that part. Why you? Why did he pick you?
I'm not sure. I have no idea. We never had any kind of deep and meaningful conversation, man. You know, it was a prank call. I'd be like, "Fuck is this?" You know? And he'd be like, "Oh, don't worry, Russell, it's only Michael." I was like, "Hello, mate. How you doing?" You know? And he'd go, "Oh, good. What are you doing?" We'd have a couple of, you know, "You should come and see a show," or whatever. And, you know?
But would it be like a classic, your refrigerator's running, you better go catch it?
That kind of thing.
Sir Walter Raleigh in a can? He never got past that one?
Mr. Wall there, is Mrs. Wall's there, Rennie Wall's there. What's holding up the roof? It's like, you know, and I said the other day on an English TV show, I said, you know, you kind of, most of us get over that at 10 or whatever, because I definitely did it, you know. Yeah. So I used to do that quite regularly when I was a young fella. But I wasn't meaning that in any nasty way, you know. I actually used to think it was kind of sweet that he trusted somehow that I'd just be into the gag and it'd be cool with it, you know. So never mind.
On Twitter, how do you deal with the trolls? I mean, because we live in this time now where people just jump on you. Everybody gets outraged about something. You're very free with your opinions. Do you find that a problem, or do you just sort of...
I call it blockety, blockety, block, block. And I just take them out. As soon as I get an inkling that that person might be nasty, then I'll just check out their page. And it doesn't take too long, you know, scroll through it and you go, all right. If they start using, like, excessive swear words or, you know, heavy stuff, then, you know, I go, over time, this person will just wait until there's a moment, and then they'll attack. So I'll attack first, block, bye. Wow. You know? But I actually want Twitter to seriously consider this concept that I have.
Okay.
When you block somebody, it should be more satisfying. If you're actually going to block them, it's just like, you know, kind of anonymous. You block them and they sort of disappear, but it takes a day or whatever, you know. I reckon you should block them and they should blow the fuck up. They should just...
Literally. Just blow up. Literally. Russell Crowe, everybody. It was his birthday on Tuesday. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
His movie opens on the 24th of this month. Check it out. Hey, thanks for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click here for more videos.
And make sure to catch new episodes Friday at 9 p.m. on HuffingtonPost.com.